right, we are live on YouTube, and today we're going to be discussing the economic stimulus checks. Is there a second round coming, and how does this truly affect the economy and the future economy here in the U.S. where I'm at? I'm also going to be answering any questions you may have in the chat regarding any of your business or personal needs or even your YouTube needs. So in between this show, feel free to ask any questions and I'll get to them as soon as possible. So stick around for all that and much, much more that's coming right. Whoa! Live from Northern California, welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. That's better. And if this is your first time here, and most importantly, you are open to suggestions and change, please consider subscribing and then banging that bell. And after you bang that bell, when that pop-up box pops up, make sure you select all notifications, because that way you won't miss a single thing. You will not miss anything when it comes to getting a better grip on your life. And also make sure on your smartphone, your tablet, your iPhone, your Android, or anywhere that you have the YouTube app installed on, you must also make sure that the YouTube app is set to receive those notifications at a device level. Do all of that, and you're all set to go. You're all set to go. I want to do a quick sound check and video check. I once again adjusted my my audio. Yesterday, I was able to finally figure out what was causing my audio glitches within OBS. I had to allocate more processor power to OBS. Don't ask me how I did it, because it's like speaking a foreign language to most of you, but I think we're all set to go. And how many of you folks love the background today? Money, 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 money. And I got my yellow shirt on. I feel good. Got my yellow shirt on and I feel good. And I'm surrounded by $100 bills, right? Queen Helen Casey. Eli, I want all that money behind you. Oh, Queen, well, listen, Queen, I can help you accomplish that if you allow me to help you, Queen Helen Casey. Sound and video is good, says Queen Helen Casey, same with Mutt Nuts Reviews. Well, yeah, Queen. First of all, we got to find a way to send you money, because you said you don't have PayPal yesterday or the other day, and you don't have Cash App or anything. So how the hell can I send you money, Queen? How the hell can anyone send you money if you have no way of receiving money, Queen? That's an honest question, Queen Helen Casey. And once we solve that, then we're golden, we're gravy, right? We're golden and we're gravy. All right. Anyway, so I got the money in the background. I got a yellow shirt, bright shirt of happiness, and a great topic to discuss here with you folks today. We're going to be talking about the economic stimulus checks that many of you have been receiving. And if some of you have not received them, obviously you don't qualify. What I'm going to do during this show is basically explain how this all started. I'm going to read, who qualifies, who doesn't qualify. It'll be a repeat for most of you, but I'm also going to discuss how I feel this is, going to affect our future economy. Is it going to be a good thing, a bad thing? I'm sure you all have your opinions. I'm going to share mine here today because I feel it makes a lot of sense. And I'd also love to get your feedback in the chat. Also, Queen Helen Casey, I know you love politics. I know you love, well, you don't like politics per se on that aspect, but you love discussing politics and debunking, especially the mainstream media and how they, present their political views. So, Queen, later on down the road in the show, an hour in or so, if you want to pop on in for a little bit and share your thoughts, I would love to have you join me via Google Hangouts. You can come in audio only if you'd like, or video, it's up to you, but audio only would be fine. I'd love to get some of your feedback because you basically do a lot of research on many political topics, and I think you'd bring some great value to the show as well. So we're going to get to that in just a bit. But you know what? I first want to start off this show and sing a song because somebody behind the scenes requested me to sing a song. And it's regarding something about tomorrow. Okay? I'm not going to get too far into it. Those of you that have been following me for a while know what's happening tomorrow. But I'm going to sing you all a little song. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, just enjoy the song. You know, it takes you back to the days, okay? And here we go. I don't have the greatest voice, but I'm going to try. The sun will come out tomorrow. Bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Just thinking about tomorrow clears away the cobwebs and the sorrow till there's none. When I'm stuck with a day that's gray and lonely, I just stick up my chin and grin and say, oh, tomorrow, tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're always a day away. One more time. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I'll love ya. Tomorrow, you're always a day away. Yeah! Woo! Wow. 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 Queen Helen Casey says, that's what I do. I expose the lies. Wow. Wow. Queen Helen Casey and Mutton Us Reviews. Did you like that song? Did you like that song? Or that song, I mean. You remember the movie Annie? What a great flick that was. Did you like it when Annie was singing that song? It's beautiful, right? Excuse me, got something stuck in my throat there for a second. I had to mute and cough it out. All right, so welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome to the show. Mutton Us Review says, yeah. Queen Helen Casey says, yeah. And let me see if there's anything else going on in the chat before we get right to it. We've got 22 in the box right now. Thank you so much for being here. It's just Mutton Nuts and Queen saying hello. If anyone else wants to join us in the chat, folks, don't be shy. Don't be afraid to chat. I know there are some people from the past that are good people that are afraid to chat here, fearing that they're going to get trolled and attacked. That's all come to an end. So please come on back, share your thoughts, ask your questions. I would love to have a great interactive discussion here today regarding the economic stimulus checks, which is what I'm trying to say. And also any other questions you may have regarding your business needs, your personal needs, or even your YouTube needs. I'd love to help you folks get a better grip on your life and, send you off on the right track to accomplish whatever your heart desires. All right, so today's show is part of my business series. I'm putting on my business hat. I've been an entrepreneur for over 12 years. I worked in the corporate world for almost 17 years before that. So I've been in the workforce for quite some time. And, throughout my years of working over the last, around 30 years or so, I have seen economies come and go. I have seen one of the best economies that ever hit us, which was the dot-com boom, and then one of the worst economies that hit us, which was the dot-com bust, and then, what happened in 2008 and all that stuff. I mean, I have seen a roller coaster of economies. But there's one thing that always, seems to happen. We seem to find a way to work through it, and we seem to find a way to continue moving forward. Like they say in show business, the show must go on, right? The show must go on. And, this topic here today, pertains to my theory of the show must go on. This coronavirus pandemic has put us into a how do I say it properly, a world of shit, to try to put it as professionally as possible. It's affected many people. Many people have lost their jobs. They've been laid off, or they've been furloughed per se. Being furloughed means you've had your hours cut back because there isn't enough work to pay your full salary. And they can legally do that. Companies can legally do that whenever there's an economic challenge. Okay. And even if you get laid off your job, and you apply for unemployment insurance right now, a lot of people are doing that. There's going to be a wait. And even, if you qualify, once you start getting your payments, they're nowhere near the amount of what you were making in many cases. So many people, are struggling to pay their mortgages, their car payments, and other bills, right? I call it scamdemic. Yeah, I can agree with you for the most part, Queen Helen Casey. I honestly think, it was something that was created. I've heard many different things about it that, even, Bill Gates, one of the richest people in the world, has the patent to it, so I don't know what to believe or who to believe, but what I can say is that, I think this was purposefully done. That's just my opinion. Either it was purposefully done, or it was created to do some testing, which is I think what they said. They were doing some testing, and then all of a sudden it leaked out. Now, you can take, when you're testing a virus, when you create a virus and you're testing it, you can take all the precautions that you want, wear a mask and everything. But, the people that are testing this virus, need to be quarantined for a while after that. If the people that were testing this virus at that particular building, right? Okay, those people would need to be quarantined for like many, many months to make sure that they have nothing, and they would need to find a way to completely quarantine, this virus that was created. Because once those people step foot outside, that thing can travel, right? And we don't know how this thing travels. We don't know how people get it, right? So, do I feel there is at least a minimal level of scamming involved in this? Yes. But I also think there was more, careless, things done to prevent it from leaking out of the test facility. That's what I more so think. Regardless, it got out there and it has completely changed this entire world. It's just amazing how one thing like this can change the entire world. And what does it typically affect? It affects our economy, right? Look what's been happening. And now here in the U.S., our government, has already issued a first round of economic stimulus checks up to $1,200 for people that qualify for them, for people that make less than the threshold amount. I will get to that. I'm going to actually go on to the IRS website, and I'm going to read an article called Economic Impact Payments, What You Need to Know. And it's just going to pretty much make you folks aware of this whole thing and how it works through the IRS. Now, many of you know this, many of you have heard of it, and you haven't seen the details, but I'm going to share with you the details, and you'll be able to see them, right on your screen. So why don't we go ahead and get to that right now? Let's switch over to the browser screen. Okay, this is from the IRS.gov website. Let's check it out. Washington, this is March 30th, 2020. Washington, the Treasury Department and the Internal Revenue Service today announced that distribution of economic impact payments will begin in the next 3 weeks and will be distributed automatically with no action required for most people. However, some taxpayers who typically do not file returns, I know a few of those, will need to submit a simple tax return to receive the economic impact payment. Queen, for those people that don't pay taxes, shame on them, right? It's all good. Everything will catch up to those people in the end, right? So who is eligible for the economic impact payment? Tax filers with adjusted gross income up to $75,000. Your adjusted gross income is your gross income after all of your deductions and all that stuff is taken out, right? It's not your actual gross, it's your adjusted gross. Your gross may end up being 90 or 100 grand, okay? But your adjusted gross may be 60 grand or 70 grand or 80 grand, right? So tax filers with adjusted gross income up to $75,000 for individuals and up to $150,000 for married couples filing joint returns will receive the full payment. For filers with income above those amounts, the payment amount is reduced by $5 for each $100 above the $75,000 or $150,000 thresholds. Single filers with income exceeding $99,000 and $198,000 for joint filers with no children are not eligible. So basically, if you make over, 99 grand, so you make like 100 grand after your adjusted gross. So let's say your gross is 130 grand, right? 140 grand or whatever, right? And your adjusted gross is above 99,000, meaning it's 100,000, 101,000, whatever. If you are single, not married, and filing individually, it's $99,000 is the max. Anything over $198,000, if you're married and filing jointly, you do not qualify. If your adjusted combined gross income exceeds $198,000. Social Security recipients and railroad retirees who are otherwise not required to file a tax return are also eligible and will not be required to file a return. So, Social Security recipients and railroad retirees still qualify. Okay. Eligible taxpayers who file tax returns for either 2019 or 2018 will automatically receive an economic impact payment of up to $1,200 for individuals or $2,400 for married couples and up to $500 for each qualifying child. So if you're married and you have dependents, you're going to receive the most benefit from this economic stimulus. How will the IRS know where to send my payment? The vast majority of people do not need to take any action. The IRS will calculate and automatically send the economic impact payment to those eligible. For people who have already filed their 2019 tax returns, the IRS will use this information to calculate the payment amount. For those who have not yet filed their return, because the IRS gave us a 3-month extension, I already filed my taxes, before the regular, normal due date, to get it out of the way. But I believe we have it's April, May. I think it's July 15th is the new tax due date for 2019 tax returns based on the coronavirus pandemic. The IRS will use information from their 2018 tax filing to calculate the payment. The economic impact payment will be deposited directly into the same banking account reflected on the return filed. All right. Well, let's say the IRS does not have my direct deposit information. What can I do? In the coming weeks, and this is an older, this has already happened. I'm just reading how this worked, before it got started. In the coming weeks, Treasury plans to develop a web-based portal for individuals to promote their banking information. For individuals to provide their banking information to the IRS online so that individuals can receive payments immediately as opposed to checks in the mail. So basically what that's saying is, if you, have paid your taxes, or you receive your tax returns through electronic payment, meaning a checking account routing number, the IRS will automatically deposit it into your account if you qualify. If not, they will mail you out a check to your address on file. Pretty simple, pretty cut and dry, right? Pretty simple and cut and dry. Quinn Helen Case says they got to pay it back to the IRS on the next tax filing. Okay. Well, I don't think that's what's going to happen, Queen. I'll share more about my thoughts. I'll initially state that I honestly think when the economy gets better, I think that we're going to be paying more taxes. So any which way you look at it, there are going to be some tax bills proposed down the road once the economy recovers from this. And when everyone's making good money and working again and the economy's jumping, that's when they're going to hit us with new taxes, which will replenish the money back to our wonderful government here in the U.S. I hope that makes sense. That's my opinion. We don't know what's going to happen until it's done, but that's just my opinion. You know, I am not typically required to file a tax return. Can I still receive my payment? Yes. The IRS will use the information on the Form SSA-1099 or Form RRB-1099 to generate economic impact payments to recipients of benefits reflected in the Form SSA-1099 or Form RRB-1099 who are not required to file a tax return and did not file a tax return for 2018 or 2019. This includes senior citizens, Social Security recipients, and railroad retirees who are not otherwise required to file a tax return. Since the IRS would not have information regarding any dependents for these people, each person would receive $1,200 per person without the additional amount for any dependents at this time. Well, you can always notify the IRS in the ways that they, requested you could notify them. I'm sure you could notify them, and that may get you to qualify for more if you qualify for more than the $1,200 if you have dependents. So that's that. Give me just a second here, folks. All right. I have a tax filing obligation, but have not filed my tax return for 2018 or 2019. Can I still receive an economic impact payment? Yes. The IRS urges anyone with a tax filing obligation who has not yet filed a tax return for 2018 or 2019 to file as soon as they can, number one, so you don't evade taxes, for Christ's sake, to receive an economic impact payment. Taxpayers should include direct deposit banking information on the return, and that way the IRS can get you the money quicker and save money and resources in mailing out the check to you. Save paper, save stamps. Folks, everything's digital nowadays. Get them your routing number. It's the IRS. They're not gonna do you wrong. They're not a hacker. They're the government. All right. I need to file. Whoops. Sorry. Give me a second here. I need to file a tax return. How long are the economic impact payments available? For those concerned about visiting a tax professional or local community organization in person to get help with a tax return, these economic impact payments will be available throughout the rest of 2020. So, you have until the end of the year. What that says to me, the rest of 2020 means through December 31st, 2020. January 1st, 2021, it's over. So, if you qualify and you haven't filed your taxes yet, file your damn taxes. What are you waiting for? For me, okay, I knew there was a 3-month extension to file taxes this year, but I still filed my taxes before the original due date because I always plan out for my taxes throughout the year. I'm self-employed and I pay my own taxes, right? So I have to plan for my taxes throughout the entire year and put money off to the side to pay taxes, because when you're self-employed, no one takes taxes out of your check like an employer does. You're a 1099 if you're I'm a contractor for my day job. When you're a 1099 independent contractor, or you work for yourself as a sole proprietor, no one takes taxes from you. So you've got to save money and then pay your taxes. You can either make quarterly payments or you can make a payment, when you file your taxes. That's that. Where can I get more information? The IRS will post all key information on irs.gov/coronavirus as soon as it becomes available. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share that link in the chat right now. irs.gov/coronavirus. irs.gov/coronavirus. I can't even talk. If you're watching this on the replay, make sure you open up your live chat. You'll be able to click on that link, or just go to irs.gov/coronavirus, all one word, and then you'll get up to the minute information there. Okay. The IRS has reduced staff in many of its offices, but remains committed to helping eligible individuals receive their payments expeditiously. Check for updated information on irs.gov/coronavirus rather than calling IRS assisters who are helping process 29 returns. So folks, if you can get the information online, there's no need to call the IRS and waste their resources that they need to use to process these payments. Okay? You should be able to find every piece of information regarding the economic stimulus checks online. Or watch a stream like this. I'm going to give you all the information here. It's pretty simple. It's pretty cut and dry, right? Right. So that's that. That's the first part there. Now, I've got 3 more websites to go over. I'm going to go over one more right now. And then the last 2 I'm going to do after I take a quick break to refill my coffee. So economic impact payments, what you need to know. All right, so now I'm going to go to another blog on cnet.com. It's called Second Stimulus Check for $1,200. Here's the update on the government's new proposal. Now, I have to fix this because it's out of alignment, so give me a second, folks. Give me a second here. I can do this very, very quickly and on the fly. All right, just a second here, please. Just a second, please. That's what happens when you do shows on your own at some point down the road. At some point down the road, I'll be able to hire some people to do the technical aspects of my shows, but for now, it's just me. But I actually love technology. I love doing all this stuff. It's just when you're running a professional show, to have to do this, kind of sort of makes you look a little unprofessional. But, some people actually love seeing the behind-the-scenes stuff as well. So, that's all good. It's all good. Give me a second here. All right. I think we are almost set. Let's do that. And let me see, did I expand this as far as possible? I can do it a little bit more. All right. Just want to make sure it doesn't go off the screen. All right. Let's get that right there. Oops, give me a second. Hold on, Nelly. Let me see here. Let me see here. Looks like we have a trolling sock account in the chat right now. You know what, Saucy Senoritas, I think you're a sock account. You started your channel, 4 days ago. I think you're from the other side. I haven't even gotten halfway through what I want to say. So I really don't appreciate you coming in here and coming at me that way. And that makes me lead to believe you're a troll queen. If you get people like that are not here for a positive conversation regarding this, just get rid of those people. I know who that is anyway. It's the guy that's going away tomorrow. It's either that guy or it's the other guy. It's just ridiculous. These people just never get enough. These people just never ever get enough. So Queen, did you get that? Like how in the world? Queen, just ban all those people. They're all coming in here right now because it's the last day before you know who goes away for a while. Thank you. I just want to focus on the show. Now, Queen, if someone asks a legitimate question and is not attacking, let them stay. But if you know they're a troll and they're just trying to stir up the pot, just get rid of them. You know, there's so much more to this. I've got 3 more websites to go through here. So you haven't even heard my opinion on this yet. Like this is just ridiculous. So let's get to the next website article here on cnet.com. Give me a second here. There we go. I think we are right in alignment there. Second stimulus check for $1,200. Here's the update on the government's new proposal. Learn more about the second coronavirus relief bill that would provide another round of payments to U.S. residents. Here's the current situation as the bill moves to the Senate. So the House approved it. Now it has to go to the Senate. All right. And this is a current, this was written May 17th, 2020. This was written today, actually, at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So literally, this was written about, 6.5 hours ago? This is up to the minute information here. Written by Clifford Colby, who writes for CNET.com. This past Friday evening, the U.S. House of Representatives voted to pass a second coronavirus relief bill to assist those battered economically by the coronavirus pandemic. The proposed legislation seeks to infuse up to $3 trillion into the U.S. economy and would include another round of stimulus checks to individual Americans, as well as financial aid for people who are unemployed, struggling businesses, the U.S. Postal Service, and money to help pay for coronavirus testing. Clearing the House of Representatives, which is controlled by a Democrat majority, and we know the Senate's controlled by, a Republican majority, but I think it's going to pass anyway. This is one that they're going to agree on. Is one step in the journey from bill to law, but by no means a guarantee. More below on what happens next. It's going to pass. It's going to freaking pass. I know it. Support for the new House bill called the HEROES Act. Now, just to show you folks here, I don't know if you can see this. This is a little offline here. I'm sorry, I'm not going to readjust it for this page here. The HEROES Act stands for Health and Economic Recovery Omnibus Emergency Solutions Act. Okay, one more time, the HEROES Act. Okay, on May 12, 2020, House Democrats introduced the Health and Economic Recovery Omnibus Emergency Solutions Act. Jesus Christ. I mean, couldn't they have come up with a name that's easier to say and remember? That's one hell of a lengthy name there, Jesus Christ. That's why they call it the HEROES Act. I will be your hero, baby. Oh, no. Excuse me. My voice is getting a little hoarse. All right, we're good. That's a little Enrique Iglesias for you folks out there. All right, let's continue here. Support for the new House bill called the HEROES Act. View the bill here. Well, I was just on that page, but I'm not going to. You folks know where to find it. Just Google search HEROES Act, and you'll find it. You can do that on your own. It's fueled by rising concerns about the economic fallout from the coronavirus pandemic. For example, the U.S. saw 3 million new unemployment claims the first full week of May, for a total of more than 36 million people filing first-time unemployment claims since mid-March. That's a hell of a lot of people filing for unemployment. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics also reported a 14.7 unemployment rate in April. Wow. And economists are warning of a deep global recession that the International Monetary Fund and other agencies suggest could become the worst since the Great Depression. Yeah, that was my concern. When they first started talking about these economic stimulus payments and the amount that they wanted to give out, okay, I was like, whoa, okay, we're done. We're bankrupt. It's over. The U.S. is going bankrupt. I mean, we're already, in a huge deficit. Now we're just going to pile more on top of that. And that's what most of you are probably thinking, right? Pile more deficit on top of deficit, more debt on top of debt, right? But since then, I now understand this. I understand this. The new proposed legislation comes as the IRS continues to send stimulus checks of up to $1,200 per person to tens of millions of Americans as part of the first COVID-19 relief package worth $2 trillion. Oh my God. Whew. If you're waiting for your money, you can track the status of your stimulus check with the IRS, blah, blah, blah. You can even use a free USPS service to see when your check is coming in the mail. Okay. Here's what we know about a second round of stimulus payments in 2020 for individuals. This story updates frequently in light of new information and is intended to provide an overview of the situation. Now, we're going to do a brief recap. The first coronavirus stimulus package. Give me a second here. But let's review. Sorry, I had to step away. I am back now. No worries. No worries. Come and go as you wish. Recap. The first coronavirus stimulus package. In an effort to blunt the financial effects of the coronavirus outbreak, President Donald Trump in March signed into law a $2 trillion economic stimulus package, technically a relief package, that includes payments of up to $1,200 to eligible U.S. taxpayers and $500 for each child age 16 or younger. So if you're 17 or 18, you don't qualify. When you're 17 or 18, they always consider you an adult, but you're not legally an adult yet. The IRS began sending checks in the middle of April, and by the start of May, the agency had made more than 130 million payments. Wow, that's a lot of payments, man. Wow. The IRS processed more than 130 million payments. Whew, wow. Are they paying their agents and workers, overtime, or are they on salary? I'd be curious to hear about that. The rollout was bumpy, with some recipients wrestling with the tools the IRS provided to assist with signing up for and tracking their checks. How much would the proposed coronavirus stimulus bill give to individuals if passed? Okay. The bill passed by the House Friday, May 15th, which was 2 days ago. This is the second round, which Speaker Nancy Pelosi and House Democrats are calling the HEROES Act. According to a fact sheet from the House Appropriations Committee, includes a wide range of benefits such as a second direct payment to individuals and households. It is suggested that the second bill, if passed by the Senate and then signed into law by President Trump, would provide a cash payment of up to $1,200 per family member with a cap of $6,000 per household. If you can't live off of $6,000 a month, then I don't know what to tell you. In addition, it would carry over the current enhanced unemployment benefit of $600 per week on top of the typical unemployment payout to January 2021. Okay. And that's okay. We get it. Yep. The argument in favor of another round of stimulus checks. Okay. Let's get to that. The proposed legislation is a self-described bold response to the coronavirus pandemic and the economic collapse, according to the House fact sheet. The financial support is intended to cushion the economic blow of the coronavirus. Yeah, cushion the economic blow. And I was thinking about this, Queen and Mutt Nuts and anyone else watching here. Okay, that's all it's doing is it's putting a cushion on it, right? Because at some point we're going to have to pay off this money, right? In order to, pay out this money, it's going to put our deficit at a greater level, right? So in essence, what we're doing supposedly is we are cushioning the economic blow, but we still have to pay the bill at the end of the day, right? But why do I think, and I'll get more into this when I go into the final website. I showed the Heroes Act. That was one of my other websites. So I only have one more website to go over when I get back from break. Once I'm done with this article here, I'm going to take a break and then come back and go to the other website or the other web page. And I'll speak more about this there. But in all honesty, I feel that if these economic stimulus checks, at least the first round and maybe even the second round, if they're not put out there, our economy would totally collapse. We would go bankrupt, and that would be it. It would be worse than the Great Depression. And so what the government's probably thinking, and this is what I'm thinking, is that, well, why don't we throw out more money, put the deficit into a greater deficit, right? Get the economy back on track, save everything from falling apart. And then once this whole coronavirus thing boils over and businesses are back and booming again, everything's back to normal, people will be making money, and then we just tax people more and make that money back, right? That's what they're going to have to do. That's what they're going to do because look, to me, it's the only logical thing that makes sense. Because if our government here in the U.S. or any government in another country goes bankrupt, it's over. It's going to be a collapse. It's done. So why not save it? Put our deficit further, behind, right? And then pay it back when things are back to normal, instead of just completely going bankrupt and basically ending our country, right? Because that's what it all boils down to. That's my opinion. What's your opinion on that, Queen? Let me know. Let me know. At one point, Queen, I'm going to have to get you on one of these shows, but I think I'll just, deal with the chat today. So let me know what are your thoughts about this, Queen. I'd like to hear your opinion on it. Anyway, the goal of a second IRS stimulus check is in part putting much needed money in the pockets of the American people. Speaker Pelosi said in a recorded statement, you can watch her speak about the legislation here. Okay, we're not going to watch that. I'm sure you folks can find that clip on YouTube if you haven't already seen it. Okay. Since the middle of March, more than 36 million U.S. workers who have lost their jobs have filed for unemployment. The actual number of unemployed since governors and mayors locked down their states and cities to stop the spread of coronavirus is likely higher, perhaps millions higher. Many people have said the numbers for unemployment are skewed. And I do believe that. I believe it is much greater than that. But even 36 million, that's a lot. So that is true. Because many who are eligible didn't file a jobless claim. With the job losses, the nation's unemployment rate reached 14.7%. Woo, man. Wow. Let me read that again. With the job losses, the nation's unemployment rate reached 14.7%. Wow. The newly unemployed, along with others taking an economic hit from the pandemic, might benefit from having more money right now to spend. All right, let's go down further here. The argument against a second wave of relief payments. Some in Washington, including Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, question whether the preceding relief measures have met their goals and want to tap the brakes before approving more federal spending to evaluate the effects of the already approved relief packages. What they're saying is it worth it going further into debt? Is this going to be an investment back into the economy that eventually over the next several years will replenish that money back to the government and start to reduce our national deficit? That's, in other words, these people don't speak plain English. You have to kind of understand that, right? Now, McConnell and others also worry how additional stimulus packages will increase the historic federal deficit. That's exactly what I've been saying. That's what it all boils down to. How much more are we going to increase the deficit? And is this something necessary to prevent the economy from collapsing so bad to the point of where it never recovers? Should we go further into debt to save the economy and recover this money and then some in the future? Meaning maybe potentially even pay off the entire deficit one of these days, right? Or one of these years or decades or centuries, right? It's a good point. So let me state the obvious. John Barrazo, a Republican senator from Wyoming, tweeted on Thursday, what Nancy Pelosi is proposing will never pass the Senate. I don't believe that, dude. I don't believe that. I think it will pass. Because I'll tell you what, if it does not pass, you're going to see an economic meltdown unlike anything you've seen. People are still struggling because of this. And quite frankly, if you don't get the people back and lift them back up and fix things, the economy's going to collapse. Like this is just ridiculous to me, right? And I didn't think this way initially when they were first starting to talk about this stimulus package. I was like, okay, we're going to go into further deficit, right? All right. But now I understand. I understand what Pelosi's trying to do. I completely understand. And I know a lot of people don't like Pelosi. I don't have a problem with anyone in the government as long as they do the right thing. I think this is the right thing. It has to be done. Because that payment is available in addition to regular jobless benefits and enhanced unemployment benefits of $600 per week, some critics have said it will make it harder to reduce unemployment ahead if people don't feel incentivized to return to work. Well, if there's work available, they'll return to work. Now, if you're saying, dude, that there are people out there playing the system and they're going to ride this out as much as they can, okay, I understand there are certain people like that, but you're never going to change those people. People that have always played the system will always play the system. The people that can't wait to get back to work are going to go back to work because they need to make more money than any of these stimuluses are giving them, right? So that's my thought and opinion on this. The original relief measure also provides a 15% boost in federal food assistance under the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. What will happen next? The House voted to pass the bill Friday night, and the package now moves to the Senate, where negotiations with Senate Republicans aren't expected to start until later this month at the earliest, according to the Wall Street Journal. So the House passed it, right? The House has, a Democrat majority. The Senate has a Republican majority. I honestly think this is one thing that the Democrats and Republicans will more so agree on than disagree. If not, you're going to see a huge, huge economic meltdown within our system. Again, I'm not one for freebies. I'm one that likes to work hard and do things the right way. But there are people where this is out of their control. For me, this whole coronavirus thing has not affected me because I'm an entrepreneur and I've got multiple income streams, right? So and even my day job, insurance, everyone needs insurance regardless of the economy. It's a necessity. People need it for their cars, their homes, their businesses, everything, right? It's a recession-proof business. But not everyone has that luxury to work a recession-proof business. It is widely believed that Republicans will push back against the bill and may work with the White House on their own stimulus package. If the House Democrats' HEROES Act passes the Senate, President Trump would still need to sign it into law for it to take effect. I think it'll pass. Again, if it does not pass, I have a feeling that it's gonna decline our economy. People need more help. There are legitimate people out there not playing the system that need the help until the jobs become available again, where they can go back to work and make their regular salary to pay their mortgages, their car payments, right? And other things that are necessities, right? While the future of a second stimulus bill remains undecided, we'd like to share available resources about unemployment insurance, what you can do if you lost your job, what to know about evictions and late car payments, and how to take control of your budget. Okay. And that's as far as it goes. That's the end of this article here. There are many companies out there, folks, that have made it easier. They are allowing you to defer payments for several months. I know PayPal for a little while. I'm not sure if they're still doing it. They removed their fees for a little while to help with this. So, whatever, payments you have, check with your financial institution, check with that, that service that you're paying into, and just, make sure that, you have a grace period. Now, most of them will send you out mailers. Some of them will email you, but just look into that. And that could also help you, defer payments without any penalty. So that way, we can make it through this coronavirus pandemic. All right. We are at 1 hour and 8 minutes, almost at 1 hour and 9 minutes right now. Let me go back to full. Actually, you know what? Let me do this while I'm here. I want to set up the other screen for when I come back after break. Give me a second here. And then we just, boom, get right to it after I come back from break. Just will take a second here, folks. It'll only take a second. Yeah, I've gotten so good at this OBS thing. Just fix this on the fly, baby. Fix it on the fly. I'm a one-man show, right? I think that is good enough right there. Yeah, I think we're good enough there. Let's crop off the other side a little bit. All right, that is good. Almost set. Where's the title? There's the title right there. All right. Now let's just expand the son of a gun a little bit. Move it down. And we're golden. Just a little bit. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. I think we're good. Oh yeah, let me crop that bottom out there because they have this special update on coronavirus. You don't need to see that. That's not a big deal. Let's just do that. All right. All right, so we're good to go. We're all set. When we come back from break, we're going to be talking about the U.S. is about to vastly increase its debt. That's a good thing. It's a great article. When I read this article, I was like, okay, this is something I've got to discuss and throw my spin on it and get your feedback on it as well. Queen Helen Casey, the economy is already gone. The shadow governments are bailing out their corporates. Queen, I understand what you're saying. And listen, I agree with you for the most part. I do. The bottom line is if the government didn't do what they're doing now, we would go completely, it would shut down. Like we would have a meltdown across the country. So you got to sometimes go into further debt to get things back on track. And that way you can start to recover your money. If they didn't do this, it would melt down and it would implode. It'd be over, right? That's my theory. Listen, I'm not trying to go against anything you're saying. I think you're pretty spot on with most of what you say. I'm just stating the facts. I'm just stating, obvious things. But and Queen, one of these days I want to get you on a panel and we need to talk about these things. I want to start getting some more panels as we get closer to the election later on this year. I want to start getting some more political panels because politics are beginning to more so affect us in the modern world than they ever have before. Like politics are extreme, and they become even more important than ever before. And I really want to start to focus more on a lot of the topics that are going on around our world because they do affect all of us at a business level and a personal level. So that is that. All right, so let me go back to full screen here. And I'm going to cue up a little bit of music. I'm going to take about a 5 to 7 or 8 minute break. And then come back and go over that last article there before we wrap things up. And I'm going to probably end up doing I may even end up doing a Walking with Purpose stream shortly after. So let's cue up some music. Just a second, please. What do I want to play? What do I want to play? Okay. All right, folks. All right. We'll be back in about 5 to 7 or 8 minutes. Do not go anywhere. on, feel the music. Feel the music. Come on and feel it here. Feel it with me. We're almost back. Almost back. All right. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, live here on YouTube, the world's most awesome and amazing platform where you are entitled to share your opinions. Let me make that very clear. You are entitled to share your opinions as long as your opinions are within community guidelines, copyright guidelines, and if you're monetized within advertiser-friendly guidelines. And that's all I'm here to do here today, folks. Welcome back. It looks like one of the trolls sent a $2 super chat saying they removed the citizens' payments from Heroes Act. Well, that's something I have not seen. So you say what you got to say. And look, this is something that's unfolding each and every day. So yeah, Queen, there is no paychecks coming from it, or there are no paychecks, sir or ma'am. I think you're sir. I think I know who you are. But thank you for your $2 super chat. I will go ahead and add that to the screen. Not a big deal. Queen, let me ask you a question. Do you know for a fact if they've removed the citizen payments from the Heroes Act? Because I have not heard of such a thing. I have not heard of such a thing. That's totally trolling right there. And that's okay. There are going to be people that are going to do that, and they're going to pay a couple bucks to get a word in and try to make it seem legit. Here's the thing, folks. All I'm doing here is stating my opinion, or I'm stating my opinions, right? And I'm looking for some feedback. I'm looking for legitimate people that want to talk about it. I don't know. I haven't checked. I haven't heard a thing about it. Because if that's what actually happened, it would be front page news. Everyone would be talking about it, and no one is talking about it. Hence, the trolling comment right there, right? But who knows? Maybe it is true. Maybe some people have talked about it, but I haven't. It has not been made a big deal yet because I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. But again, all I'm here to do is state my opinion regarding this, state my opinions, and encourage some conversation. Get people to talk about these things. And here's the thing, what a lot of people don't understand, I am open to your feedback. I am open to people coming here and sharing their thoughts about any particular topic or topics I discuss. What I am not open to are trolls that come in here to try to, throw me off my game or throw my moderators or anyone else on any particular panel I may be running off our game. And it's pretty pathetic. And your opinions, the opinions from trolls and haters, they don't matter. There's a difference, folks. I'm mentioning this difference right now because I don't want people coming here and being afraid that if you share your opinions, your valid, genuine, legitimate opinions, that you're going to get blocked. You're not. If you're a troll, you're going to get blocked. And that's the bottom line. That's just the way it goes. So enough said regarding that. Let's get back to the final website here. This is going to be very interesting. Let's switch over. And let's start reading the blog from the New York Times, from NewYorkTimes.com. The U.S. is about to vastly increase its debt. That's a good thing. I never thought I would see a title like that. But after thinking about it for a while, it makes a lot of sense. And I've already started talking about it. If you miss any parts of this first show, if you're here live, you're gonna have to wait till it goes to a replay because I have the rewind, the DVR function disabled. But if you miss any parts, go back and check out the replay. If you're watching this on the replay and you've skimmed through, make sure you go back and watch the first part of the show because I was talking about this throughout it. The case is strong for spending a large amount of money in the short term to fend off worse economic woes down the road. Right. That makes sense to me. I'm a logical human being. Let me read that again. The case is strong for spending a large amount of money in the short term to fend off worse economic woes down the road, or to create something worse than the Great Depression and bankrupt our government and put us all out of business and let the entire country. I'm only speaking about the U.S. here because I'm in the U.S. I'm sure folks from other countries, you have your own issues, right? But here in the U.S., it would completely collapse our government, our system. We would be done. Then where do we go? What happens from that point on? If we have no government to regulate things, people are going to kill each other. They're going to do crazy things. What do you think is going to happen? Why do people not use common sense and logic and reasoning to understand this, right? Anyway, yeah, more of you trolls keep coming back in here. I do accept other people's opinions that are not here to troll me. And that last troll that was here, I know who you are. And you're pathetic, sir. You are. A lot of you are pathetic because all you're here is for the reaction and the entertainment factor. You're not here for a serious conversation. That's why Queen Helen Casey and I are going to continue banning you. You just don't get it. It's my opinion. You don't like it, tough luck. If you have something of value to bring to debunk my opinion without trolling, then that's fine. But you guys are just trolling. There's a difference between stating an opinion and trolling. Queen, do you believe there's a difference between stating an opinion, even if it's different than the host's opinion? There's a difference between stating an opinion and trolling? You let me know. Let's continue here. The United States government, actually this was written March 27th, 2020. Okay. The United States government is poised to take on a huge amount of debt to contain the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. Okay. This was before the first payment, right? With budget deficits on a scale not seen since World War II looking likely. Of course, it's going to put us further in debt. But the only thing worse for the public debt outlook would be if it didn't. That's why a broad range of economic analysts, including even many fiscal conservatives who generally view high public debt as a long-term threat, support aggressive action. They're looking at it in the same way I'm looking at it. If you don't do this now, it's all over. If you do this now, you may go further into debt, but then you're going to bring everything back to normal and you can pay it off, right? It's like a loan almost. This whole economic stimulus package is like a loan. That's what it is. God, man. The very large deficits on the way in 2020 are more likely to leave the United States in a better fiscal situation for the years ahead than an alternative in which the government is more tight-fisted but fails to prevent the widespread collapse of American businesses or help workers in desperate financial straits. Again, take action now, save everybody for something that was completely out of their control. No one expected the coronavirus to do this to our workers, our businesses, our economy, right? It just happened. It was out of our control. The government is recognizing that and saying, okay, here's what we're going to do to fix it. It's going to put us further in debt now, but it's going to get everyone back to normal. And then everyone can pay us back through taxes, okay, afterwards, right? What part of that don't you folks understand? It makes perfect sense to me. Economists focus not on the absolute level of the debt, but on the interest cost to service it relative to the size of the economy. So a prolonged recession tends to be worse for the debt picture than some extra spending, right? So if they didn't do the stimulus thing and get people back to work and open up businesses again and prevent all this failure, it would cost much more in the long run to fix it. And it would potentially even self-destruct our own government and system. Is that what you folks want to see? Give me a second here, folks. Give me a second here. It's an important text message I have to respond to very quickly. Hang on. Just a second. All right. My apologies for that. I just don't understand how some people don't have common sense. I really wish we could do it a different way. What other way are we going to do it? Moreover, signals from financial markets suggest that the government should have little trouble borrowing vast sums of money on favorable terms. Okay, that speaks for itself. Let's move on. Finally, this spending is meant to last only as long as needed to get the economy on track after the containment of the coronavirus pandemic, meaning it should be a one-time increase to public debt rather than an increase to permanent deficits. Let me repeat that one more time. Finally, this spending is meant to last only as long as needed to get the economy on track after the containment of the coronavirus pandemic, meaning it should be a one-time increase to public debt rather than an increase to permanent deficits. I've been saying that this entire time. I was one. Initially, before they decided to do the first round of stimulus checks, saying that what the hell is this going to do to our deficit, right? What's it going to do? Is it going to bankrupt us? What's going to happen? And now, when I look at the overall big picture, I have to give props to the government for looking at this as a business deal, as a business transaction. Like, do we want to put our own business, the government, out of business? Like the government's thinking, if we don't do this, we, the government, are going to collapse. We have to do this. There's no choice. If we don't have people out there working and paying taxes and businesses working and running and paying taxes, where's the government going to get their money? If they don't do this to save the people that are paying their salaries and paying them to run the government, govern the land, where's that going to go? It's going to self-implode. Why don't you people understand that? I don't get it. I don't get it. Queen says, yes, there's a difference between trolling and actually, criticizing and critiquing and disagreeing with someone else's opinion. Melas Review says, I believe stating an opinion is way different from trolling. Of course it is. Of course it is. Because some dude that's going to jail tomorrow, is deciding to do some last minute trolling. It's all good. Not a big deal. The arithmetic of the budget deficit is stark. In forecasts prepared just before the outbreak became severe, the Congressional Budget Office projected a $1.1 trillion deficit this fiscal year, or 4.9% of GDP. I think it's going to be higher than that, especially if the second wave of these payments gets approved. Actually, is there more down here? There is more. Okay. I thought there was... they just keep saying, thanks for reading the Times, subscribe to the Times. Okay, William Foster, the lead U.S. analyst at the credit rating firm Moody's, now expects it to be more like 10% to 12%. Fitch, another rating firm, estimated it will be 13%. Sounds more like it to me. Those numbers would exceed the previous post-World War II record for the deficit, which was in 2009 when it was 9.8% of GDP. Yeah, this is gonna be pretty bad. But there's no choice, because if they didn't do this, it would be worse. It would collapse permanently. It'd be over. Well, part of that don't people understand. Like, the government is literally trying to save themselves too from going bankrupt. Some people just don't get it. The exact numbers are still unknowable. The $2 trillion stimulus package has come together so quickly that the budget office has not had time to do its customary modeling of its fiscal impact. Well, they had to act fast. And those numbers take forever to put together. And they're typically never accurate initially, or accurate ever. They're close, but they're never accurate. Parts of the legislation are designed as loans. Right. I've been saying that. They're loans. So to hit the Treasury will be less than the headline number. GDP is a guessing game at this point. Yeah, I get that. I understand that. But even many analysts who generally prefer fiscal restraint believe it is a good time to be borrowing a lot of money. And in essence, that's what the government's doing to put out these stimuluses. We are going further into deficit, right? Into debt, right? The deficit's getting bigger, right? But again, if we don't do this, what kind of an immediate impact or near future impact is it going to have when people are not working and the economy collapses so badly that it basically makes the government go bankrupt, right? Seriously. I just don't understand how people think. This is common sense to me. As the economic outlook dimmed over the last month, interest rates plunged to unprecedented lows. The United States government can issue 30-year bonds at only a 1.44% interest rate at Thursday's close. And this article was written a little while back, a few months ago. And in inflation-adjusted terms, borrowing costs are negative. The market for Treasury bonds has had periods of dysfunction in the last few years, causing a spike in longer-term rates as major investors and foreign governments sold bonds and there were few buyers. But most signs are that this was caused by a global cash crunch, not fears of rising indebtedness by the United States. Fitch Ratings, in affirming the nation's AAA credit rating Thursday, said that it believes recent dislocations and illiquidity in the market for U.S. Treasuries reflect changes in the structure of the market and exceptional conditions and do not signal heightened perceptions of U.S. credit risk on the part of investors. If anything, with global central banks expanding bond buying programs, a shortage of safe bonds in years ahead could be likelier than a glut. That would tend to keep interest rates low. The Fed is now doing open-ended quantitative easing, buying Treasury and other bonds on a vast scale to try to push cash into fraying financial markets, and it has actively encouraged the rest of the government to take advantage of this cheap money. He told me, think big because the interest rates are low, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said of the Fed Chair Jerome Powell in an interview with the PBS NewsHour. An important factor in projecting the impact on deficits and debts, spending on the virus response is intended as a one-off, not as an increase in the structural spending levels and budget deficits the United States should expect to have indefinitely. It's temporary. It's temporary. It's basically like playing the stock market. The U.S. government is saying, look, we are going to play the stock market with our people out there, with our citizens, right? And we're going to give them $1,200 or $2,400 if they're married, filing jointly or whatever, right? We're going to give them this money, right? And now we're thinking about giving them a second round because this is how it's going to impact us in the future. If we don't do this, how's it going to affect us now and in the future? They're thinking if we do this now, we're going to save a government collapse, right? A systematic collapse, right? And then when everything gets back to normal, everyone's working again and everything's all good and gravy, right? Then we'll start getting that money back and paying the deficit, right? We'll increase taxes. People will have more money at that point. We will get the money back. We'll get back on track all around. If we don't do this, we're screwing not only our people, but we're screwing ourselves, the government, right? This is not permanently raising government spending. That's right. It's temporary, said Louise Schreiner, a senior fellow at the Hutchins Center on Fiscal and Monetary Policy at the Brookings Institution. It is a one-time thing and big one-time thing, but it raises the level of debt and doesn't do anything to the trajectory of debt after that, which makes it less challenging in the grand scheme of things. Simple math shows why. If the national debt were to rise $2 trillion compared with what had been forecast, and the government paid for it by issuing 30-year bonds at current rates, the debt service cost would be about $29 billion a year, a trivial amount in a $20 trillion economy. There's a big difference between $29 billion and $20 trillion. And unlike a private borrower, the government never need pay its own debt. I'll repeat that one more time. And unlike a private borrower, the government never need pay down its debt. Theoretically, the debt can remain on the books indefinitely, so long as the cost of interest payments is manageable, which in turn depends on economic growth. Folks, I'm going to read this last part that I just read here again. And unlike a private borrower, the government never need pay down its debt. Theoretically, the debt can remain on the books indefinitely, so long as the cost of interest payments is manageable, which in turn depends on economic growth, which is not happening right now because people are out of work. What part of that don't you understand? That speaks for itself. We are certainly expecting a much faster accumulation of debt than we had previously, said Mr. Foster, the Moody's analyst. But if this is effective, it will cushion the blow to growth and the economy will pick up faster. I agree with that. And that would have positive spillover in terms of debt dynamics, meaning the result of successful stimulus would be a larger economy and thus a lower debt to GDP ratio than if the government had enacted. Oh, God, I could not have said it better myself. At this stage, the government can't be preoccupied with deficits, he said. The downside risk of an inadequate response is much more severe. Public debt levels will have increased, Mario Draghi, the former president of the European Central Bank, said in an essay published this week in the Financial Times. But the alternative, a permanent destruction of productive capacity and therefore of the fiscal base, would be much more damaging to the economy and eventually to government credit. It would collapse. It'd be over. Like I said, the government would self-destruct. The government, look, if I can put this in simple terms, as simply as possible, if the government doesn't do this, they highly risk imploding, self-destructing. What happens if the government self-destructs? I think you all know the answer to that. Give me 1 second here, folks. The $800 billion fiscal stimulus the Obama administration enacted starting in early 2009 was widely attacked for increasing the deficit, but the budget deficit peaked that year and declined subsequent years as the United States economy recovered. Why? Because they stimulated the economy to do that when it was necessary to avoid it self-destructing. God, man, wow. The Fed may one day need to raise interest rates and sell off its holdings of Treasury bonds to prevent inflation, but that would most likely occur at a time when the economy had returned to its pre-coronavirus trajectory and was seeing higher inflation levels than have been evident over the last decade. That speaks for itself. This is a great article. All evidence now suggests that day is far away. Currently, deflation or falling prices is more likely to be a problem. The price of oil at around $23 a barrel is roughly 1/3 the level at which it started the year, and bond prices imply that inflation will average only about 1.07% annually over the coming decade. Okay, that's very reasonable. If that were to change, if inflation were to become a problem and the Fed needed to raise rates abruptly, it would very likely coincide with a much stronger economy that would make debt payments easier for the government to manage. Makes sense to me. For all those reasons, even many stalwart opponents of deficit spending are embracing aggressive federal action in the virus response and bemoaning that the pre-coronavirus deficits were as high as they were. I think some people are just very idiotic. That's all I have to say. Some people just don't want to understand economics. They don't want to understand how businesses work. And if you don't understand that the government is a business, they're a business. They are the business of our country. If they go out of business, what happens to your business? What happens to your lifestyle? What happens to the American dream that we've all worked so hard for? What happens to our freedom that we've all worked so hard for? Just think about that, folks. One of the primary reasons to be fiscally responsible during periods of economic expansion is to have the capacity to fight downturns or emergencies, said Maya McGuinness, president of the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget. This is precisely the kind of movement where borrowing is warranted and necessary that we should have been preparing for over the past years. And that's the end of the blog there, folks. Queen, let me ask you a question. Queen and Muttnuts, if you're still here. Give me a second here. Let me just fix this here real quick. Because if I don't do this now, I'll forget to do it later. Let's go back to full screen. Queen Helen Casey and Muttnuts reviews before. Obama is not who you think he is. Okay, well, that's your opinion. I mean, Queen, I like your opinions. I'll disagree with you regarding Obama. I actually did vote for Obama, and I thought he was a pretty good president. And I thought he was one of the most down-to-earth and realistic presidents we've had. I certainly feel, he was a way better president than Donald Trump is, but that's just my opinion. You're entitled to yours, I'm entitled to mine. I'm not here to project my opinions on anyone. I'm just here to state how I feel and stir up some conversation, right? But as far as this blog article goes that I just read, Mutt Nuts Reviews and Queen Helen Casey, before I get on out of here, what are your thoughts? It was pretty well written. It makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Now, while I wait for your responses, folks, I just want you folks to all know that in about 2 hours at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, I will be doing a Walking with Purpose live stream. Got a few topics in mind, or I may just do a chill hangout show to talk about anything. But I will definitely be doing that about 2 hours from now. It'll be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Walking with Purpose will happen tonight. Mutt Nuts Review says, still here, just back and forth cleaning. Okay. So just waiting to hear your feedback on that, Queen Helen Casey and Mutt Nuts Reviews. I think that last blog I read on New York Times, on NewYorkTimes.com, was very well written, and I understand why the government has had to do what they've done and why they're trying to do it again a second time. It makes a lot of sense to me. Mutt Nuts Review says, I don't fully understand government, but yes, it was well written. Yeah, it blew me away because, you see, Mutt and everyone else, I've been trying to really understand what's going on here. I've been trying to really dissect the effect this coronavirus pandemic has had on society and our economy. And it really has affected us. But I honestly think the government acting quickly to do this is what's going to prevent us from going into a Great Depression or worse than that, or even having a repeat of 08, right? 08, 09, right around there. I'm actually very happy with the way things are going. Queen Helen Casey, the economy is spiraling down and it is going to get worse before it gets better. Well, of course, Queen. That's exactly what I've been saying. Queen, listen. People are struggling right now. They're hurting, right? If you don't take care of the issues, okay, by spending a little more money, right, and going a little further into debt, then you're going to collapse worse than if you spend the money and then get the economy back up to where it needs to be, and then you can start recovering that money. So, Queen, yes, spending these extra trillions with this stimulus package is going to put us further into a deficit. But it's going to get everyone back to where they need to be. And once everyone's back to where they need to be, then guess what? The government can focus on recovering that money and the rest of the deficit, right? Over the course of time, right? Queen somewhat got rid of a lot of stuff I'm not using. Okay. Smash the like button for Eli, says Queen. All right, everyone. I'm going to get on out of here. I really enjoyed doing this show. If you want to see more political type of shows, let me know. If you're watching this on the replay, please comment below. You can also email me at Coach Eli at coacheli@melas.com. As we get closer to the election later on this year, we're going to be doing more and more topics that are very important. I've just grown to really understand, especially during this day and age, how important politics are for all of us. Whether we like politics or not, it is important to discuss things and share ideas. I never thought I would say this, but it is. And so I'm going to start more so discussing these topics here as part of my life coaching on my channel. Queen says, great foreign bank company want their $23 trillion back. Well, they'll get it back eventually. Later, I'll catch up with you later. All right. I want to thank all the moderators here in the chat. Thank you to Queen Helen, Casey, Muttonus Reviews, and anyone else that was watching, and not commenting. Have a good one, folks. I'll see you all in a little less than 2 hours for Walking with Purpose. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. We're out. Peace out. Peace out.